Hello everyone and welcome to Brilliance Online Edu Classes. This is Shrabani Chatterjee and today I am here to appreciate a poetry, Thing of Beauty from the curriculum of Class 12 English. A Thing of Beauty is a beautiful poetry written by John Keats. John Keats is one of the most eminent names to talk about in English literature if we talk about the Romantic era of English literature. In this poetry, the poet is focusing that a thing of beauty, all the aspects of nature's beauty is a joy forever. The beauty will never vanish nor diminish. There is a permanent place in our mind for the beauty, and it will always be a source of health and peace for us. The benefits proffered by a thing of beauty are listed as giving sound rest with good dreams and well being. So the poet says that all the shady comforts which are provided to us by nature, that is the source of rest and peace for all the human being as well as the other creations of God. So nature's beauty is a joy forever for all of us. The words that you will find in stanza 1 is loveliness, which refers to the beauty of nature, and bower, which means a shady enclosure, the bushy, shady enclosure. Moving on to stanza 2. In stanza 2, the poet is focusing on our connectivity to the nature's beauty. That how well and how intricately we are connected to the beauty of nature. Now, the earth minus beautiful things, then it becomes a horrible place to live in. It would be all full of despondence, that is sorrow, melancholy, and sadness. So, this nature's beautiful aspect makes the earth a place to live in. A thing of beauty helps remove the dark cloud that burdens our souls. We human beings each day create an ornate band made up of all the lovely things we see. So every passing day we get more connected to nature, remembering and watching and observing the beautiful aspects of nature. And with passing days, we learn to appreciate more of it. So the words which are coming up in this paragraph, one is wreathing, that is entwine, to get connected to. Other one is dearth, which means lack. Moving on to the third paragraph, here the poet is actually giving a glimpse of the various beautiful things which even when we talk about it, we can visualize the beautiful scenario, and which definitely has an impact on our mood and persona at that moment. So we are talking about the sun, the moon, trees, flowers, streams, the musk rose which blooms in the summer season and has a beautiful fragrance, and the architectural sepulchres, even the fairy tales and the heroic legends also. Now here there is something interesting. The poet says that when you talk about the great people, you don't cry over their death. Rather, we feel proud and we cherish their achievements, their heroic deeds. Innocent humans seeking solace in nature, and Mother Nature in its own way sprouts a shady abode of relief and consolation. So Mother Nature always has something comfortable and cozy to give relief and consolation, tranquility and serenity to the innocent human beings. And in the last part of the poetry, the poet talks about the beauty in the death of martyrs and legends, which I told you just now, that when you talk about the martyrs, the legends, we don't cry over the tragic end. Rather, we cherish, we celebrate the achievements which has been remembered till now. right? So there are innumerable beautiful things to notice. We talk about so many things which we discussed just now, about the clear rills, about the flowers, about the green meadows and all. And these beautiful things are like an eternal fountain which the God, which Almighty is pouring on us. Okay, so it is an immortal fountain which is heavenly, because we experience a heavenly bliss when we see these things. And the words which are coming up here is a grandeur, which means magnificence, and brink, which means edge, right? Just to the rim. The poetic devices, first is metaphor. You have lots of metaphor here. Reading flowery band, sweet dreams, bar quiet, fountain of immortal drink. So there is a comparison without using like and as, right? Then imagery, as I told you, the moment you even read these words, you start visualizing. The image comes in front of you, like the flowery bands, the shady boon, the daffodils, the grandeur of dooms, and the cooling covert, and all those things. Then you have transferred epithet, gloomy days. Days are not gloomy. Who becomes gloomy? The human being. So this is transferred epithet. Unhealthy and over darkened ways. So again, ways are not over darkened, our lives and perceptions are. We talk about oxymoron, mighty, dead. Mighty and dead are contrasting meanings but used together. Rhyme scheme is AABB, and alliteration you will get a lot, that is repetition of the first consonant sound, like noble nature, sound of N, cooling coward, sound of C, that way, right? So these are the poetic devices. In a nutshell, if you talk about the message, this poetry gives a clear-cut message that thing of beauty is a joy forever. It never passes into nothingness. Our earth is replete with innumerable natural objects full of beauty. These enliven our spirits and remove the pall of despondency, right? Misery, sadness, and sufferings. So children, I am sure you will now be able to connect properly to the poetry once you read it again and try to blend the content given in this poetry with your comprehension of the poetry. It would really become very easy to appreciate the poem after this. Thank you everyone.